Now getting into actually targeting your site and what you write for the content for your site. Again, a really simple thing that so many people get stuck into. People will try and boil what they do down. When they want to sell, they want to rank for something in a broad, what we call broad generics. I want to rank for clothes. I want to rank for cars. I want to rank for hotels. Fabulous. Incredibly, incredibly hard to do. Think about your business in richer terms. To be found in Google these days, unless you've got a fairly substantial amount of money and are engaging an agency like ourselves, to rank for these sort of terms takes an awful lot of time and an awful lot of investment. But there's certain specific things about your product or service that people are looking for. What happened about 6 months ago, Google's little search box became less little, grew by about 33%. Probably most people didn't notice it, but the reason they did that is people search more precisely these days. They search more specifically what they're looking for. I want a little black party dress. They would used to search dress, and maybe party dress, then people are searching more specifically for what they want. So you optimize your site for exactly what you sell, because the chances are you'll be found more quickly for it. But the other thing is the customer's more engaged, more ready to purchase that decision. If you're somebody searching for dresses, you don't know what they want. A white one, a black one, a pink one, a tall one, a short one, a sparkly one, whatever. But somebody searches a little black party dress, you can be found for a little black party dress, so much easier, so much cheaper to do, and the customer is ready to buy. So if you've got a range of them, brilliant, you'll sell them. So, and again, you're not burning your money trying to go after the world, especially if you've only got 50 dresses and your next competitor's got 50,000. You want to sell for the things people are looking for. You'll save money, you'll get better conversions, and there's more chance you'll be found for the things you actually sell. Another thing people do, and this still happens to this very day, treat search optimization, treat the search engines as an afterthought, something you do after you've built your site, after you've spent all the money writing the content, after you've sourced all the images and thrown money at your web development company. If you're working on a website, if you're working on a new iteration of your website, SEO should have happened back then. Thinking about what you want your site to be found for, how you want it to be ranking, and how you want to write the content. Think about it before you even start, and you're actually going to save yourself a fortune. Now, if you were broadening the content of your site, think about SEO again. What does each page want to do? What does each page want to rank for? What do you want the customer to do in those pages? How do the pages interact? People will come to us and say, well, there's our site, and you go, well, what does that page do? I don't know. Well, that page is the same, and that page is the same. Throw it all away. Again, you're wasting time. You're going to have to go and rebuild a lot of things. So doing it as an afterthought is a huge mistake, because you're going to have to go rewrite content, rebuild links, restructure navigation if you want it to really work. So do it first. Think about it now. If you're thinking about changing or updating the website, think about it now. It's not an expensive thing to do. It's not a complicated thing to do. And from our perspective, that's a very economic way to start, and will probably save any typical search program about 10 grand to get started with on any major site. A secondary aspect to that, and again, something that people don't do, is not going all the way. When I say not going all the way, it's if you take all the first principles of search optimization, all the things I'm talking about, and there's a list of about 40 other things I could go on about, but all the little things that you can do to your website, in the content and the development, all that sort of things, they're not hard to do. They're really not. Thinking about the links, how you write the links, the text, the navigation, what it looks like, the title tags, the header tags, all those little things, really actually, when you get down to it, if you're doing it for the first time, really easy to do. But if you don't do all of them, you're just wasting a bit of money and wasting a bit of opportunity. So many people will do that bit, but say, oh, can't be really bothered going through the title tags, and I haven't got time to write content for that page. And you're like, well, why did you pay for it? Why did you spend all that time building the site? I'll come back to that. Do it now. It's so cheap, it's so effective, and the effect it'll have on your site is massively positive. There's two final things that I think I need to cover off. Some of you may have heard this term, some not. Black hat SEO. Black hat SEO is doing SEO the dirty way. It's kind of how it used to be in a way. Search engine optimization's never been the favourite topic of Google, and certainly if you ever speak to anyone at Google, they'll not engage you on the conversation. They'll just kind of steer away from it. They don't like to think you exist. Google believes what Google brings to market is the right answer, and search engine optimization has been traditionally trying to make that answer more what you want than what Google wants. They're starting to embrace it a little bit more now, but that's partly because black hat SEO is gone. It's tricking Google into thinking that you're doing other things. still, people are still doing it, and sometimes unknowingly, but still very often knowingly. And Google's actually smarter now than it ever has been. You know, hiding, if you want to have a nice elegant website, you have nice big images, there's my product, look at that, but I need to talk about it, but I don't want to fill up the page with lots of text. I know, I'll hide the text behind the image. Google's smart enough to see that. Or, you know, people still do things like, well, I'll put that text on a black background and I'll make the text black. You can hide text that way. Google will, you think Google will read the text because that's what it does. Google's smart enough to know that. Even more cunning things like hiding pages or burying navigation. Google is getting smarter and smarter about these things. People are still doing them. People are still hiding things on top of Flash, behind Flash, JavaScript, all that sort of stuff. Simple base things. And to be honest, this is one thing that Google are very upfront about. If you go onto the Google Webmaster Central, it's a really good resource for people developing the site. It tells you all the things they do not like. It's kind of like, here's the things here's the things you do not do. Quite simple. And they're being, you know, it's the one thing Google are telling you not to do. Google never tell you what you should do, but they'll certainly tell you what you shouldn't. And you should read that list. Very simple, very effective. But if Google ever catches you doing any of those things, think about the impact of you disappearing off Google for anything up to 6 months, a year. That's the penalty for Google, as far as Google is concerned. If they find you doing something really naughty, they'll just knock you off. Buying links, sharing links, link exchanges, all these little things that make Google really nervous. You could disappear off Google, and the impact on some of our clients, if that ever happened to our clients, hopefully it never will, would be huge. It would be a huge percentage of business, 25, 30, 40% of their total online revenue gone just like that, and people are still doing it. One final thing, and I think this is something that so many people try to avoid because it's boring, because it's a little bit geeky, it's a bit numerical. Your analytics. If your site hasn't got analytics, what are you doing? It's free. Google gives you it for free, and there's Yahoo now give you a different thing for free. Web Analytics tells you everything that's going on in your site, and it's not just a search optimization tool. It tells you who's coming to your site, where are they coming from, what are they searching for, what pages are they going to, how long are they staying on your site, what pages bore people, what pages interest people. But people don't like to do it because it's lots of graphs and lots of stats and all the rest of it. Analytics is a whole lot easier to use these days, but it's hugely informative. If you're wanting your site to rank, it's the first place it's going to tell you you're going to get that information from. You can't sit and think about all the hundreds of terms you could possibly rank for. Go into Google, try and find where you are in that rankings. Am I in the top 100? Am I in the top 10? Your analytics will start to tell you when you're ranking for things. It'll say in your natural search traffic, this term brought you traffic into this page of the website. So suddenly, something's ranking because people are finding you. Go and find what that page is. Go and see what it's doing. Have a look at it. What's it saying? How's it performing? What can I do more? Can I do more? Change that page, get myself up the rankings a bit more. It's all in there. And you're really missing a trick not getting into your analytics and understanding it, because your investment in your site is pretty much laid out on a screen for you, saying, here's where the money's coming in, here's where the money's going out, here's where you're losing customers, here's where you're gaining customers. Get stuck right into your analytics, and again, save yourself a fortune. And I guarantee, in any site that's got a reasonable amount of traffic coming to it, half an hour in your analytics and you'll discover something new about your business you didn't know half an hour previous. And every time, and you can build on that knowledge, build on that knowledge, build on that knowledge. That's kind of it. I mean, that's only 10 things. Allegedly, there's over 150 different things that Google considers when it's trying to optimize your site. That's just the 10 most obvious ones. There's a whole load of other way more geeky, way more technical things I could go on about. But if you want to have that conversation, I'm happy to do that afterwards. But these are really simple principles that so many businesses still, I mean, these principles, some of these principles are 10 years old, that businesses still aren't doing. They're coming to us with websites that don't do these things. And they're very cheap, very easy to sort, and just taking a 10 minutes to get your head around them can actually make a real difference to your business and make your site come up the rankings like that. If you monitor in your top 100 positions, you'll see your business shift up the rankings, and it can make a real difference in 24, 48 hours sometimes. So really worth considering. Consider the way your site's operating, and you can make a real difference. Thank you.